Something I've been thinking about, besides getting this board flat here, is all of the political division right now in the U.S., well, all Western nations. And something occurred to me today. We think of our political divisions right now as left versus right. I don't think that's what this is. I think what we're calling the culture war, it's a sorting. We're choosing sides. It's not a war yet. And I think the sides are, at the moment, it's honest and dishonest. Eventually it's going to be good and evil, but for the moment, it's honest versus dishonest. And I think honesty is what's either going to save Western civilization, or if dishonesty wins out, it's going to destroy it. I think that's kind of where we're at. And that might sound a little dramatic, but I don't think it is. Okay, if we look at the sides right now, everybody's describing themselves differently, but a lot of people on the left now are describing themselves as classical liberals. Okay, well, those are the ones in favor of honesty, and they're trying to differentiate themselves from the woke left, the extreme far left. Okay, those are the ones that believe being dishonest. Now, we got plenty of dishonest people on the right also, but the right in general tends to favor honesty. Okay, and what's driving all of this? Well, there's all kinds of things that could be driving it, but where we're at right now, all of our institutions, near as I can tell, are corrupt, rotten to the core. So this is a government, this is all branches of it, legislative, judicial, executive, this is healthcare, this is schools, education, primary schools, colleges and universities, this is law enforcement, this is churches, all of our institutions right now appear to me to be corrupt. Well, what is corruption? It's lack of honesty. Okay, and as far as the corruption, I'm not saying everybody in all of those institutions are corrupt. There's some extremely good, moral, honest people in all of those institutions. It's just the higher up in those institutions you get, the more corruption we see, until you get to where we are right now, and our institutions appear to not really be functioning. Our last 3 years. Was anybody particularly impressed with the National Institute of Health? I think they need to rename that one to the National Institute of Big Pharmacy Monopolies or something along those lines. I don't think any of us were terribly impressed. Okay, and as far as the dishonesty, okay, on the far left, what is it? Misgendering. Yeah, there you go. I love that term because that term's so dishonest. And that's what they do. They're even corrupting our language. Okay, a man wakes up one day and says, hey, I'm going to be a woman now. All right, well, first of all, he's not a woman. There are differences between men and women. We all know that. And to say there are not any differences and that a man can just be a woman, well, that's not honest. Okay, and the term, if misgendering, if you call a man that now says he's a woman, if you call him a man, then you're said to be misgendering that person. No, you're being honest. The misgendering part is to ever say that man was a woman to start with. That's dishonest. Now you can say, when a man, or vice versa, if a woman decides she's a man, if someone decides they're trans and they're the opposite sex, to call them the sex that they actually are, now you can say that's rude, you can say it's mean, you can say that's a lot of things, but it is honest. Okay, now if we take that and run with the whole honesty thing, far left, free school. School's never going to be free. Well, debt forgiveness, student loan debt forgiveness. It's not debt forgiveness. It's transferring what all these students owe that borrowed money. It's transferring that payment to everybody else, because us, the taxpayers, will be the one paying it. Right? It's not debt forgiveness, it's debt transfer to people that didn't take out the debt. All right? Free health care. Nothing free about health care. Doctors and nurses have to be paid, hospitals have to be maintained. It's terribly expensive. What we're talking about really there is who's going to pay for it. Okay, so there's just so many terms on the left right now that the terms themselves are just a lie. Social justice, that's a corruption of the term justice. They're corrupting justice by adding the social to it. And there is no such thing as social justice. There's mob rule. If you really want to go with that line of thought, social justice, I guess you could look at the French Revolution. Maybe that was social justice, but there's no such thing. Justice is based on the individual. All right, no social to it. So, and that's what I mean by the dishonesty. And there is so much dishonesty right now, so much corruption within our institutions. Look at the U.S. government right now. I mean, is this just not an absolute mess that we've got going on with the whole Hunter Biden laptop and all of the, what appears to be a lot of corruption on there? I mean, how many millions of dollars are we talking about here? And we're talking about the President of the United States. Donald Trump, a lot of you hate him, that's fine, I get it. I can't stand to hear him talk. But that doesn't mean he was corrupt. Okay, I like his policies. All right, now, look what was done to him while he was in office. The Russian collusion. Okay, now we all know that that whole thing was a lie. That he was bought and paid for by Russia. But it was started by Hillary Clinton's campaign. Okay, so he was impeached on a lie. Okay, well, the people that impeached him, they knew it was a lie. And then you want to talk about election interference, and that's what they were going after him for, because he had the nerve to ask about Joe Biden and Ukraine. Hey, could y'all look into this? This looks kind of suspicious. Well, now, with Hunter Biden's laptop, it's really looking suspicious. And Trump said, hey, would y'all look into this? He got impeached. But look where we are now. They're going after him for top secret documents. Okay, the president's the only person that unilaterally has the authority to declassify documents. What are they getting him for? He didn't fill out the paperwork. He didn't dot the I's and cross the T's. Versus, how many top secret documents did Joe Biden have that we know he had that were not secure, that were documents that he got when he wasn't president and he didn't have the authority to declassify them? Look, how Hunter Biden's being treated right now, and the whole Department of Justice, and Hunter Biden, what, a little slap on the wrist for a felony gun charge, lying on the permit as far as drug use for buying a handgun. I'd have went to prison over that, and so would most of you. All right, that was obvious. He got away with that because of who he is. Drugs in the White House. I mean, I guarantee you, if I'd left a bag of cocaine in there, they would know who did it, and they would be coming for me. All right, so the corruption has just gotten so obvious now. They can't even hide it. I don't even know that they're trying to hide it anymore. I don't even know that they care. Now, there's a few people out there that still listen to legacy media, and that's all they listen to, and they might not have heard about all this, because legacy media seems to be not interested in talking about it. Legacy news media seems to be more interested in suppressing the truth than talking about it. More corruption, which is, by the way, why legacy media is absolutely imploding right now, and the entire industry is collapsing because nobody's listening to them anymore. Right, but look, who are we listening to now? Joe Rogan. He's more popular than CNN and MSNBC combined. All right, well, why are people listening to the Joe Rogan podcast? He's honest. That's it. He's honest. That's, people trust him. That's why they're going to him for information. Look Look at how many podcasts are emerging right now. People we've never heard of before, but all of a sudden they've got podcasts that are just growing exponentially. That's why their podcasts are growing. We trust them. All right. We're seeing new news organizations emerge, and we're watching the legacy news organizations die quickly. And at this point, I don't think they can die quick enough with all the misinformation they've spread over the past 3 years. And social media. If you were to misgender someone on social media, a lot of the social media companies have policies that they're going to ban you for doing that. They're literally going to ban you for telling the truth, for being honest. Well, that's because they're corrupt. And if you want to know how corrupt they are, and the government, then just look at everything that went on with the FBI telling Twitter and Facebook and so many others, yeah, don't print that information. Don't let the people know about that. You need to censor this information. And, oh yeah, all this stuff from the New York Post about Hunter Biden's laptop, that's Russian disinformation. It's bad information. Don't let anybody report it. Lock the New York Post out of their account. Censor them. That's election interference from the federal government. Watergate was absolutely nothing compared to what's going on now. All right, but then the legacy media, they love to pat themselves on the back about, look, Watergate. That was a great reporting by Bob Woodward. What was his name? Bernstein? It was great reporting. I mean, it really was, but what they reported on then, that's nothing compared to what's going on now. Sitting president trying to have his leading opposition candidate sent to prison for 200 years while they're finding drugs in the White House while he's there. Anyway, where's Bob Woodward right now talking about what's going on with the current administration and the federal government and all of the corruption that we're all seeing? I hadn't heard a word from him about this. Like the legacy media, that they don't want us to know about this. They don't want to report on the truth. They want to avoid this. Okay, and again, I get it. A lot of people hate Trump, and he's got a big mouth, and he makes it easy to hate him. But the truth's still the truth, and honesty's still honesty. And if you want to know what side you're on, okay, if you're one of those that hate Trump, never Trumper, I don't care if you're left or right, okay, is making sure Trump never gets elected again. Is it okay to lie to make sure he never gets elected again? Ask yourself that question. Because I heard one individual, Sam Harris. I don't know how many of you know who he is, but he's a really smart individual, intellectual, pretty famous. And he was on an interview with a podcast a little while back, Trigonometry. I'll leave a clip in the description below of that interview with him. But they were talking about the laptop, Hunter Biden's laptop, and Sam Harris absolutely hates Trump. He's got Trump derangement syndrome really bad right now. And he said in the interview that he didn't care if they found, children's bodies in the basement of Hunter Biden. It should have been suppressed just to keep Trump from being elected. And I'm paraphrasing what he said there, and I'm butchering it, but again, that's about what he said. It's really close to it, and I'll leave the link below to that so you can see for yourself. But okay, if you're to the point you're willing to sacrifice honesty because of your hatred for another individual, you're part of the problem. You're on the wrong side. You're on that dishonest side. Okay, so when I say it's that we're dividing into honest and dishonest, the dishonest side, it isn't just lying about words. It isn't just corrupting the meaning of words. And it isn't just the institutions. It's, are you willing to sacrifice the truth? And they are on that side. Okay, well, the problem is nothing works without honesty. Not in a democracy. A democracy can't function without honesty. All right, January 6th, what you saw there was a lot of people that had no trust whatsoever, and the other side, they've completely lost trust in our election process. I can't imagine what could have happened to make them lose trust. Lack of honesty. There's a reason they lost trust. Our economy, it can't function without honesty. Capitalism doesn't work without honesty. Science does not work without honesty. I'm so sick of hearing people say, trust the science. I trust the science. I just don't trust the scientists. They've lost our trust. Almost every institution over the past 3 years burned through absolutely every bit of trust that they had built up over the years. Gone, just like that. That's because they did too many things that were just too obviously untrue. And that's political leadership in both parties here in the U.S., Republicans and Democrats. Okay, that's why I say this isn't left versus right. And the culture war. We're seeing people now from both sides, left and right, the honest ones, coming together. And that's those podcasts I mentioned, so many growing in popularity so rapidly. I watch podcasts with people that are liberal, whereas I'm a conservative. Well, why on earth would I listen to them? Because I trust them. I value the truth more than I do finding someone that agrees with me politically. That was just something I was thinking about and I thought was really interesting and well worth sharing. Just how important honesty is, especially right now with so much dishonesty. And I really do think that's what we're doing, is we're sorting ourselves into sides right now, the honest and the dishonest. And it isn't left and right, because we've got a lot of honest people on both sides, left and right. We've got a lot of dishonest people on both sides, left and right. But the honest people seem to be coming together now. And I think that's what it's going to take right now to save Western civilization. I seriously think that's where we're at right now, because our institutions, they appear to be about ready to implode. All right, now for this board. And what I'm doing here in the shop, I finally got my plane irons figured out. I've got a sharp edge on them and my planes are cutting. And I think I finally got this board right. I went ahead and resurfaced my bench top here, put a fresh coat of boiled linseed oil on it. And this is the advantage of having a flat bench top to work with. I can check my boards. And I don't even need to put winding boards on this. When you get a board dead flat and you set it down on another flat surface, I guess just the surface tension there, you can feel it stick just a little bit. And this one's got that. And put these two dead flat surfaces together and yep, so 2 boards down, a lot more to go. All right, my break's over. I'm getting back to work here. God bless and have a great day.